Mechanized Infantry. One of the most slept on ways to play squad of all time. I mean, I'm not sure when this happened. I don't remember it ever being a thing, but some of these factions now get 5 IFVs. I'm getting ahead of myself, but yeah. So let's just talk a little bit about them, what makes them so powerful, and how you can utilize them in your next game. But the name of the game is mobility, firepower, and protection. Let's take a look at this pretty basic layer of UE5 we have here. This example is the VDV versus the IMF, and we're going to use their Mechanized Infantry faction. If you take nothing away from this video, take away that this faction is broken. I mean, just take a look at this vehicles list. 3 BMP2s, 2 BMP1s, a T-72A, and 2 MTOB ZU AA guns. Not to mention the grad. The firepower alone could win the day, but I'm going to tell you how to elevate that to the next level. When you consider that every BMP can fit an entire squad, you can move your troops around the battlefield extremely quickly and with extreme firepower. This works most effectively on flat maps like Yihorivka and Gorodok, but can really work on anyone. Let's say, for example, your troops are bogged down on Petrivka. Just get in a BMP and flank. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, but it's really that simple. It works especially well with more than one BMP and more than one squad. That being said, a lot of players shy away from these factions, just because they're so punishing in the way that they operate. What do you mean by punishing, Scuba Steve? I hear you asking, but don't worry. I'm going to explain it quickly because I'm kind of biased, and also they really just don't have a lot of punishing factors. The biggest one by far is the wait times. Most of these vehicles have a 10 to 15 minute timer, and it's really punishing when you get killed because you just won't get it back for that amount of time. Not to mention, most of these vehicles, like the Bradley, the BMP2, the BMP1, I believe, are all 10 tickets, so there's that to keep in mind as well. But by far the most punishing factor is when all the armor gets wiped out at the same time. This actually deters most players from wanting to choose these factions because they see their armor as inept or not able to show up when they need them to. But I'm telling you now that when infantry and armor work together, it is the most beautiful thing that gaming has ever cooked up. Mechanized infantry should be a quick reaction force, moving swiftly to neutralize any threat on the battlefield, whether it be on attack or defense. Going back to the map on Yihorivka, I'm going to quickly explain quick reaction force and how you can use it to win your games. Let's pretend you're this little soldier guy here. And say you're fighting south of you to keep them off of Petrivka Co-op and Upper Petrivka. The enemy will probably come behind you to try to cap the active objective. Normally, you and your squad would have to walk hundreds of meters back to the point just to have a chance at fighting them. But if you're a QRF or Mechanized Infantry force, you can mount up, rearm, and be on them before they even know what hit them. Just remember that most of these vehicles were made in the 60s, so just don't take too many hits. Just some personal advice: drop the infantry off first onto the point, and then circle the point with your armor, shooting into it and covering the infantry while they move in. Just remember that mechanized means tracked. Stick to main roads or at least pathways that are not going to get you stuck in the end. For all of the IFV drivers, I know you want to, but please do not sit in the back and just shoot at infantry from like hundreds of meters away. Nobody likes that. It's just farming kills, man. But of course, this all implies that you have coordination with your squad and coordination with your team, and if you just don't, then IFVs are still a great way to have a great time and get lots of kills. In fact, 99% of the time, when I'm playing squad, I don't have a specific goal set in mind when I get on. I just get on with my buddies and we do what feels right. But that usually is what the squad or the team needs, and a lot of time that is armor or mechanized infantry in this case. It's also important to understand the limitations of each IFV and what makes them different, but just keep in mind that they're not tanks. They're lightly armored vehicles, so a couple rockets and you're going to be in bad shape. The biggest way to be able to counter that is playing with your infantry and also not sitting at one spot for too long. And this becomes more important when you get into motorized infantry, which I might do in another video. It's important to keep in mind what kind of vehicles are available in your faction. A lot of them have been changed and updated and even improved in a lot of cases. The ground forces of Iran have Cornets on their BMP2s, which not a lot of factions get, and of course their BMP1s are also stabilized, which is huge because no other faction gets that as well. Of course, the biggest question is this as broken as being able to buddy rally like the insurgents have, or being able to put 2 habs for every faction like the insurgents also have, or being able to have a drone just up all the time like multiple factions get nowadays with the new UE5 update. Well, I don't know. I think you guys should be able to decide. So leave it in the comments. What do you guys think? Let me know. Is this broken? Is this too much armor? Or do you guys think it's just right? Because for me personally, I think it's just right, especially for us older players that want a new way to play. But hey, at the end of the day, I guess we'll see who gets the last laugh or final say, whatever you want to say. Probably OWI. But thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day. Peace.